Hey everyone, my name is Chris Green, and on my screen here, I have Mud on the Tires, and I have the isolated tracks of Mud on the Tires. So I've got drums, bass, and guitars. Let's take a listen. Now, all of that is not at the regular tempo. So in today's video, what I want to show you how to do is how to practice guitar in 2026. It is the modern day. We have a great selection of tools available. When it comes to practicing, there are a couple of recommendations I want to make to you, and that's going to be covered all in today's video. My name is Chris Green. Welcome to Learning Guitar with Chris Green. Whether you're an absolute beginner or you're looking to freshen up on some skills, this channel is for you. Like I said before, we're jumping into what's called Fender Studio Pro. It is a program that I will have linked in the description of this video. I cover a lot of tutorials on my other channel specific to Fender Studio Pro. But in this video, for all of you guitar players out there, or maybe if you're a drummer as well, if you're looking to get the most out of your practice sessions, that I can't recommend you check out these features. So I'm going to show you step by step every single thing that you can do when it comes to practicing in Fender Studio Pro. We're going to manipulate the tempo so things will not be at 100%, but you can actually practice at like 40% speed if you want to, all with the pitch being consistent. You can also transpose. We can change the key of the song to fit our needs. So if we're in the key of G or we want to change it to D, I'm going to show you how to do that as well. And then, like I said, these isolated tracks were not sent to me whatsoever, but within Fender Studio Pro, I can actually separate the drums from the vocal, from the bass, into the guitars and stuff like that. So super beneficial for your practice sessions. Let's get started. So here's a program called Fender Studio Pro. This was previously known as PreSonus Studio One. If you're interested in learning how to record and do music production stuff, I do have another channel called Chris Green Home Studio Producer. You can check links in the description. But for those of you out there that are just getting started, take a look at this video and I'll explain this process. But just know that there are other DAWs out there. If you happen to have Logic Pro, I believe it's going to do something very similar as well. Also Ableton Live. Use whatever you have available, but this is the Fender Studio way of practicing tracks. So first thing I want to do is when I open up Fender Studio Pro, I want to hit new for a new session. I'm just going to call this one practice. I'm going to click OK. And here I have an empty session. Again, we're not going into the weeds on like how to mix or anything like that, but I want to show you how I drag and drop my own practice tracks in. So I still use Apple Music. I'm a 90s kid, and so I grew up with like the iTunes store and things like that. So I highly recommend if you're looking to practice a very specific track, and it doesn't cost that much to own these songs. I don't say own them, but have them on your library. And so what you can do with this, if you don't already have access to the MP3 or whatever, you can find whatever song you want. So this is Mud on the Tires. I'm just going to right click and I'm going to click download the song. So I've already got this one downloaded, but as you can see right here, there's a button for download. So if you right click download, do that for whatever song you need. And then once you've downloaded it, you can go to right click and then show in Finder. So there I have my song. This is Mud on the Tires by Brad Paisley. As we know, there's a pretty cool guitar solo and we want to learn it. So I'm going to click and drag it into my session. Doesn't matter where you put it. I'll put it on measure 2 just for now. And here we have the song. And if I played this song, I'd probably get a bunch of copyright strikes and things like that. But we're going to try to avoid that for the time being. If I right click, I can go to where it says speed up. And instead of 1.0, that would be 100%. I'm going to go to something like 0.7. That should be 70%. And back here at the end of the song is where we get into the guitar solo. What's neat about this is that it's not going to sound super great, but what it is going to sound is pitch accurate. So we're not affecting the pitch. Typically with like older programs or the way you do this with a cassette player or something, a lot of times the pitch would get changed with it. So everything gets pitch shifted down, but let's hear it as it is. So this is somewhat near the guitar solo section. All right, and you can hear the benefit of that because if I can go through and I can just match that up, it feels a little weird. But then what you can do, just right click and instead of at 70, work your way up to, let's go to 0.8, okay? And if that's not slow enough, I mean, you can really move this anywhere you want. You can go to like a 40% volume. So you see the benefit. I mean, if I'm playing along at that tempo, of course, that's not going to be at tempo. But if you're just learning how to play the song, whatever the song may be, drag and drop it into Fender Studio Pro, right click, change the speed, and then just work your way up to 1.0, which would be at tempo. Now, there's a few other settings that you can take use of here. Transpose is certainly useful. So if you play in a band and maybe you have a singer that doesn't want to do this, I believe the song is either in D or G, but if you want to change the pitch of it, if you want to change the key of the song, all you have to do is on the transpose function, just go in and if you want to drop it down a half step, just go -1. If I do that and take a listen. So you can really change it to any key. Now, as you're changing the pitch, you definitely are going to notice the lead singer will start to sound like a mouse the higher you go. If you're doing like -1, -2, or +1, +2, if you want to raise it, just remember it's just an increment of like a half step. So if you're going from G to F, that would be 2. So you need to go -2. If you go back to 0, that's going to be at the regular tempo. We can also take this track and separate stems. So we can get basically an isolated track of different instruments. So if I right click, I'm going to go to separate stems. It's going to ask me, do I want to separate vocals, drums, bass, and other? Other is usually going to include the guitars and the piano as well. We can go through and just make sure they're all selected. And I'm going to click OK. So now it's going to analyze whatever the song is, and it's going to break it out into individual tracks. Now, it's been individual tracks. We can go through and do stuff like we can mute the vocal if we want to. This isn't going to sound 100% like the original. It will be in the same key. It'll be the same tempo. You will hear some ghosting. So if you're familiar with like using AI tools or anything like that, there'll be some artifacts. This is the same quality as you would get from like a 1990s karaoke. But if I mute the lead vocal, and then I take these tracks here, I right click and do like we did before, I'm going to change it to 70% speed. I'm going to go over here to where the solo is, and now listen as the lead vocal should be completely gone. So over here on the side, if you hit M, that's where you can mute the vocals. So we'll keep those muted. Let's mute the bass and drums as well. So this is just like the middle instruments. This is like piano and guitars. Or if you are ready to play along, you could have the vocals, the drums, and the bass together, and then you're playing guitar on top of it. Again, that's with Fender Studio Pro. It's not the only DAW or digital audio workstation that can do this kind of thing. But if you're trying to learn a new song, if you're working in a band and somebody sends you a track or something that you need to learn, I can't think of a better tool or a better way to learn the songs than to be able to manipulate the tempo. You can slow things down like we talked about first and foremost, and then being able to separate the stems. So being able to mute the vocal, being able to isolate the drums. It will sound a little bit artifacty. It does sound like those karaoke tracks you'd see on YouTube way back in the day, but I really hope that's beneficial to you as you're learning to play the guitar. This is a great tool. I will have it linked in the description. And again, like I mentioned, I do have another channel called the Home Studio Producer. You can check those out if you want to get into Fender Studio Pro for recording's sake. So my name is Chris Green. This channel is Learning Guitar with Chris Green. I hope you'll consider hitting the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video. All right, bye.